11.10. I think this is the last patch before, you know, we leave the nest, I guess. The final voyage of the maiden ship of Acherontina is upon us. We are going upon a journey to infinity and beyond, or something like that. Tomorrow, so today's Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, they're releasing update 11.1, which will include the final changes made by CDPR. This means that moving forward, you will have control over all the changes made to the cards of Gwent. The power chat, the responsibility, the moment is upon us. Traherne read this line and shat his pants, or rejoiced, depending on who gets the vote. Like Buzz Lightyear, exactly. Will there be elephants, Gandalf, on this journey? I don't know, but there will be dragons. There will definitely be dragons. Whether or not War Elephant gets buffed depends on whether or not Gabain continues to play. So there is a developer update video. I haven't watched it yet. I may or may not watch it. Right now, I think I'm gonna keep reading, and we might come back to the video. For that, for the card changes to Gwent, they have implemented the Balance Council. But more info on that later. So they have a dev update video that reviews the most important changes. So first there's the Balance Council, which we'll review later. There's an update to the iOS version for notch support. Ale of the Ancestors, the artifact, now has an alchemy tag. Just in case you thought you're allowed to use this in any other deck other than that one deck. They're making it very clear that this neutral card is for Skellige's eyes only. No touchy if you're an R. I saw somebody playing this in Knights. No. It's got a tag, okay? It's an ale, it's a beer, but apparently it's made from mushrooms somehow. In a lab. Yeah, puzzle. It's just people who are in pro rank or have played 25 games that season. So basically active players. Okay. Syrinova and Golden Necker no longer have... So right now, this I knew about already, but let me pull up Syrinova. This is Syrinova's current ability, right? Maybe not like that. Okay. There we go. It says if your starting deck not better. Lee. There you go. If your starting deck does not have cards with a provision cost of 10 or less, or 10 or more, gain resilience, shield, and veil. So right now it says if your starting deck, I assume what's going to happen is once this patch goes live, it will just say if the other cards in your starting deck. That means that if we wanted to, we could like make Syrinova 10 provisions without it no longer being like viable, right? So if we feel that Syrinova is so good that it should be 10 provisions, you can still put it in a Golden Necker deck and it will work. And this change is only going to apply to Syrinova and Golden Necker. So in classic long-term thinking, and elegant design, they've decided to stick a band-aid on this thing, you know, rather than come up with a universal system that allows you to modify card text. Instead of letting us basically modify card text and conditions in a more sophisticated way, they're saying, no, it's fine. Power provision only is totally fine. I mean, CDPR, with all their resources and people full-time employed to do this, haven't been able to properly balance the game for this many years. But sure, community voting, where you're only allowed to change the power and provision, that'll be good. That will be healthy. Yep. Everything's fine. And then people are like, well, what about cards like False, Siri Nova and Golden Neck? Like, okay, we'll just make this change. That's the one they've thought of, but they haven't thought of all the other ones that might be problematic, and they won't be around to make any changes in the future. So, but anyway, enough about GWENTFINITY. We're gonna review the patch notes first, and those changes. So, Colossal Ifrit corrected the tooltip to reflect ability. The ability targets 3 adjacent enemy units, not the opposite, bro. Yes. So there's a tooltip error right now on Colossal Ifrit. This card. Damage. Right now it says damage 3 units on the opposite row by, a number. And it's really not opposite row. It's just any enemy units. It works fine. So. Next change. This is just a tooltip change. So. Golden Necker, same thing as Siri Nova. Regis Bloodlust. That's been changed. So this is Regis Bloodlust currently. It says when you lose a round while this card is on the battlefield, banish your deck. If it's in your hand or deck, banish self. And if it's in your graveyard, banish the top 3 cards from your deck. Right? So this is being changed to okay, the battlefield effect has been changed to just banish the top 3 cards from your deck, not all the cards in your deck. So this has made it a little less binary. So now if you play it, you only lose 3 cards from your deck. But if you put it on the it's made it made the risk a little less for playing it on your side, and it's made it a lot less effective at milling your opponent's entire deck because they passed. Because before, what you could do was you could, with monsters at least, you could Ophiri this into their deck, and then what you would do after that is play Goliath, consume the Goliath, and now they have a Regis on their board, and their entire deck gets banished. Now you can still do that, but only their top 3 cards get banished. So that's definitely an improvement. Any nerf to cheesy mill type conditions is a good nerf. Mill type win cons is a good change in my opinion. Because it was and even if you hadn't passed, if they played this, you had to now win the round. Or rather, if they summon it to your side of the board and you didn't have a way to consume it or lock it, it would just yeah. So good change. Sangreal now has the alchemy tag. That's very interesting. They're just really adding alchemy tags to everything, huh? Or maybe they reviewed all the cards that didn't have tags, and since GWENTFINITY doesn't let us modify tags, only power and provision. Why does wine? Because beer also. Have we discussed the serious changes yet? Well, we start from the top and we scroll down and we're at Regis Bloodlust. So there's no way for me to answer that question unless we had finished the patch notes review. And since you can see that we're on this item, I think you can deduce that we haven't finished the patch notes review. Current reigning champion, by the way. Tainted Ale now has the alchemy tag. Can no longer target allied units. Wait, what? Why? Why are they like taking away all the stuff that could target your own units? Like all the neutral cards that they reworked can no longer hit your own units. Oh, right. This is so. If you guys didn't know, there was like an abusable bug where you would put two Heime protectors next to each other. These guys. Because this says whenever an adjacent unit takes damage, boost self by 1. And then you would use the ale. And what was the other thing? There's an infusion that says when this boosts damage it. Right. Oh, Tainted Ale itself does it. Yeah. Tainted Ale puts an infusion on the unit that says damage unit by 2 and infuse it by whenever this unit receives a boost, damage itself by 1. So you would just hit a protector and it would just do infinite damage and boost, and you could just do that forever. So you'd put them next to each other and you would just hit them. And so that's why they've changed it. Instead of like saying, hey, we made a dumb infusion, we should just get rid of it. They're like, now you have less options. I'm not saying this is a bad change. I don't like it when options for clever gameplay are removed. Like every time they make a card only target enemy units instead of enemy or allied, I'm like, well, there goes that. Like, I always thought it was neat that I could lacerate my own row. You know, there's certain scenarios where if you have like Vran warriors or She-Troll, that killing like lacerating your own row was actually more points than lacerating the enemy row. I thought that was neat. That was clever gameplay. Yeah, or Siri, like, you know, or you know what? Like, there's those cultists in Skellige that nobody plays that like taking damage. I mean, I know they have totem and they have other things, but it's just like, you know, I always also liked from a flavor standpoint that neutral cards could target units on both sides because they're neutral. Like that always gave me a small chuckle. Like, oh, you can use you know Doragary on your own units because he's neutral. He doesn't take sides, right? He'll lock anybody. You get a lock and you get a lock. Crow's Eye. Which has the alchemy tag, but not the organic tag, for reasons beyond my understanding. Got a small buff. Right now, this is very, very weak. You almost never see this played. Only, I think, Space Daddy plays it in Alchemy. Most people don't even play it in Alchemy. Because, like, Pellar is 4 points. This is 3. You know? At least now in an Alchemy deck, like, Pellar can be used offensively. And all that's because Pellar used to be 5p, if anybody doesn't remember. There was a time when Pellar and Bomb Heaver were 5p, and they got nerfed to 4p. The faction-specific purifies, like the elf one or the red elf one, those were always 4p. It's just, but when they made Pellar cheaper, they didn't give those anything, and so that's why the monster purifier has always been so terrible. Anyway, now this has been changed from 3 to 4, so that's good. Thaw boost changed from 4 to 5. Thaw is in a similar boat. This is Thaw. It says boost an allied unit by 4 and give it Veil. This was only ever played in certain meme decks. Now we'll boost an allied unit by 5 and give it Veil, which is good because it puts it on the same level as Mahakam Ale, right? Like remove Veil or give or remove Lock. You still have to have the unit on the board, But like, you know, you can do some combos, or if they send you back arcane tome, you know, you might be able to do something cool with it. Bothering the faction purifiers have conditions like they're 4P, just let them purify stuff. I mean, again, this is all because not everybody has the faction purify at 4P, and Peller was 5P, but they like we were all complaining that poisons are OP and locks are OP, and rather than like figuring that mess out, like back in the day, my suggestion for poisons was a poison should damage a unit by 1, you know, in the first turn, and then 2 the next turn, 3, 4. Like every turn that something is poisoned, it should take more damage, whether it's 1, 2, 4, 8 or 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes sense, right? The longer you've been poisoned, like you're sick. If I get sick and I go to the hospital right away, I don't take a lot of damage. If I wait until I have a heart attack or something, then I take a lot of damage. I don't know. Like that to me always seemed like a more elegant poison mechanic than poison them once and they are perfectly fine and it's as if literally nothing has happened. Yes, you're poisoned, but you're just a-okay. I just got bit by a cobra, but I'm still a 13 power Egern. Whoop-de-doo. Oh no, a second cobra. That kills me. I have to be bit by an even number of cobras before I die. That's how it works. That's how poisons be. Like that always didn't make any sense to me. It also, from a gameplay perspective, was kind of dumb because like, oh, my deck has to have 3 poisons because what if I miss one? Or what if they purify one? So like you always have to have more poisons than is required. Just let each poison do a thing. And that thing can be damage 1, you know, 1 on the first turn and 2 the second and 3. Like, I don't think that would have been that hard to code. Just play every poison except Cockatrice. Don't play Cockatrice. Oh my god. Wait. I just saw this. Varina. I can't believe they made this change. So they didn't buff her provisions or power or anything. Or rework what she does. But the restriction now only affects enemy units. That's good. Because now you can play this. Well, patience is only like... No, Chish, what you're like, sorry. Chish says, so poison is like patience. No. Because patience doesn't do 1 boost and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. It's... You can choose to do 1 now or 2 next turn or 3 turn after that, right? You can build it up. You can pool your patience. But what I was suggesting for poison was that poison damage increases over time. Either linearly or exponentially. Like... Think about how cultists boost like every bronze you played now, like whatever. My thought was that each turn something is poisoned, you know, it takes more damage per turn. And it doesn't matter if you poison it twice, like, because like there should be a difference between killing something and poisoning it. If you want this thing removed from the board, remove it from the board. If you want to poison it, you poison it. Poison means it dies slowly, faster than if you bleed it, because like think about it. If you have like if you're bleeding versus if you got bit by a snake, like bleeding will probably, you know, anyway. But moving on. Bleeding should work like this, but descending, as in it should like do 3 damage and then 2 and then 1. Like every turn it should do as much damage as the number of bleeds on it or something. Like if it's got 3 turns of bleed, it should just do 3 damage at the end of that turn? No. That would be weird. I think bleeding being constant, whatever. We don't get to change any of this. But my point was, with the poison stuff, when we were talking about... Oh, we were talking about Pellers. Okay, that's what. So poisons were like just insta-removing stuff because everybody ran Meral and Masquerade Ball was the thing and Syndicate had a million poisons. And so did Scoia'tael, and King Cobra was like 5 power or 4 power, something ridiculous. And I think it was even 4 provisions at one point, if I remember correctly. And so like Red Rain would made a poison NR deck, poison monster deck. Like I remember those, and it was just like overpowered and busted because you had like a 13 power unit, 2 poisons kill it. You had a 2 power unit, 2 poisons kill it. Poison everything. They play Morale. Now you can either kill the Morale or purify your unit. Either way, your thing dies because next turn they play poison from hand and click Morale and single. Like, it was a problem. And their solution to that, as always, was rather than fix the source of the problem, was to like try and shift the meta, right? By giving us a cheap, by making the counter less expensive. This design philosophy of, I'm not going to fix the problem, I'm just going to give you a bigger hammer to whack it with, leads to the problem of now we have, like, the hammer's too big. And then you got to have a bigger wall so to withstand the hammer. Like, this, like, escalating arms race of countering counters with better counters and is, like, the classic thing that I see happen in every card game for some reason. Somebody thought that's fun. It's not. Maybe it's okay in a MOBA. I don't know. I don't know anybody who plays MOBA seriously and says that they're good for their mental. It's good for their mental health. So I don't know why that like Dota design philosophy has spread like wildfire. I think it's more to do with like developers not wanting to disappoint gamers, and gamers don't like nerfs, and this allows them to just keep buffing stuff, and like they feel like, oh, I'm doing a thing that will make people happy rather than nerfing, which that's not your job. Your job is to make a good game. The game will make the players happy. Like, you don't need the players to like the patch notes. You need them to like the game. If you do a good job, they won't even read the patch notes. They'll just have fun. Like, that's my philosophy. Like, I think that if people are like waiting and counting the minutes till the next patch, there's something wrong with your game. A good game shouldn't have players like, you know, itching and craving a patch, because it's pretty good. But maybe they're excited for what new content's coming out, but they shouldn't be craving balance changes. Also, as I say this, I have to point out one last time that this bothers me, because you guys can't see it, but I can see it. At the bottom. Sorry, this is a weird tangent. But you see right here? This shit is not vertically centered. Not even a little bit. Look at it. Can you all fix this before GWENTFINITY, please? Bro, like, who QAs this? Look at where the word craft is. As a Moshcraft, I am offended. Like, oh my god. Like, at least it's kind of centered horizontally, but like, why isn't it just centered vertically? And why are the images not like aligned with the center of the text rather than baseline alignment? But then this one like bleeds out from the bottom. I can't even draw a line here. Okay, like, I think you guys can see it if I draw a line here. Like, if you were to just draw a line, you can see right there. Like, this is the bottom pixel of the text, and then there's like 6 or 7 pixels that, like, why are you like this? Don't you look at this like every day? Like, if you're the guy who's working on the UI or worked on the UI, like, doesn't it like I assume they have someone who works on the UI, considering we've seen UI changes over time, or at least for like journeys and stuff, they add UI things, or for like the new like seasonal whatever, it's like autumn, the cycles. Like, if you're that guy and you fire up like the game to test something, do you never see this and go, oh crap, let me just move this like 5 pixels? No? I've never met a designer who hasn't been bothered by something like that. Like if there's any designers in the chat, I promise you they've already like cringed and twitched just from me zooming in on it. So I apologize to them and their families. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the monster changes. Also, I will point out that the font for the heading is smaller than the font for the item. That's because I zoomed in, and when you zoom in, see right now at this font, at this zoom, monsters and Verena are the same size. But as you zoom in, for whatever reason, the way they did their CSS is at this exact zoom level. See right here, it's still fine. Nilfgaard is smaller than a fawn, but at least it's like similar in size. It's not smaller. But when you zoom in one more time, suddenly Northern Realms is puny. Scoia'tael compared to Angus. I don't know. It's just like they use different scales, where one is like a fixed size and the other is a scaling size. I don't know. I use the internet all day. I only notice this stuff this often on CDPR stuff. Okay, hold on. I want to give the monster changes that we're getting this patch the attention that they deserve. So, and I know we've got a lot left to go through. So, first monster change is Verena. Currently, it says bleeding units cannot be boosted. That means if you're playing vampires and you put this card on the board, and your opponent is playing Nilfgaard or has a pikeman, or if your opponent has Skellige and they bleed you, or even Northern Realms has some bleeds. Scoia'tael has bleeds with making a bomb, and I think that's it. Anyone else have bleeds? Syndicate can give bleeds. Executioner and Bloody Good Friends. What else? There's like the Borsodi brothers. Small Indian company. Come on. That's not cool. The Devotion Treant in Scoia'tael. Oh yeah, the little cute things. Mutated Hounds in Syndicate. Yep. The Dutch formation, dude? I don't know what you're talking about. Is this like a soccer reference? You chat saying, it's football, not soccer. Suck it, Europe. If you wanted to decide what things are called, you should have won World War II on your own. Is screen flashing for you guys? Sudamaki says that hurt. Well, tough titties. Yeah, if you're watching on 720p on Twitch, Twitch is bad at transcoding. Okay, so right now, if you have this on the board, it's actually like a big liability. Because it's like a Dire Bear. You know how Dire Bear affects both sides until it gets Berserk? Well, this didn't have a Berserk. It always affected both sides. Well, they've changed it to now it only affects enemy units. Which I get why they didn't change the provision cost of this or whatever, because they're like, oh, we're only gonna focus on things that they can't fix on their own. Like the Balance Council can fix it. Yeah. So I still won't be playing this. I mean, I'll play it to try it. Like if suddenly there's a lot of NR and Scoia'tael in the meta, but not Symbiosis, and like there's less Enslave for whatever reason. I can't imagine what that reason could be. I don't see Enslave ever not being meta. They just have the versatility and tools, and leaders are not changing. Just asking my healthcare student debt. Not cool, QST. People are suffering. Yeah. Anyway. like there's a chance it'll be decent in some metas. But most likely we won't play it. We won't see a lot of play till it goes to 9p or 8. No, it's binary. I can either have it all or none, so I'll just have it all up there. Or you talk about the patch notes themselves. Patch notes should be easily to read. Okay, so that's the first change. Let's go to the second change in monsters. Archospore, a card that could really use some love because it's literally only, like, even Deathwish doesn't run it because it can screw up your, like, it doesn't work with Brewis. So would be cool if this got some sort of like rework. Maybe this can apply a poison to support, like, because we have Cockatrice poisons now, and we have the Plague Maiden, Archospore. Like, I mean, literally spores. Like, this would be a perfect poison card. So maybe that's what they're changing, or maybe giving it like a bonded, like maybe it's like it's gonna be poison a unit, and then like bonded will be like doesn't have the predator condition or something. I don't know. I'm brainstorming here because, like, for the devs to give monsters control, it has to come with some drawbacks. So maybe this has like a bonded condition that it's predator, otherwise like it doesn't. Or maybe this can just like be like Mantrap, okay? Infuse something with a Death Wish or a Thrive. I don't know. Like, Thrive would make sense. Just like summon all copies from your deck, and it has Thrive. Like, think of how good would it be if this was like 2 power and had Thrive? Would actually be playable. Because right now your only 2 power Thrive, we're not counting Penitent. Your only 2 power Thrive is Drowner, and Drowner is a card that's like a tech to move an enemy unit. You don't want to play like Neckers and then play Drowner because you want to keep that Drowner for like when you need to move something or do 2 damage. Like, Drowner having Thrive makes no sense. This could use some Thrive. What was Archospore before it was Foglet? Well, it depends on how far back you want to go. It used to be a really cool card. If you guys don't know, Gwent.1 is like an amazing resource. I love whoever made this site. If you're out there, if you see this, please reach out. I'd love to do an interview with you, and make a video highlighting how cool this site is. But yeah, let's go to Archospore. So one of the nice things about this site, one of the things I use it for a lot, is it's got this version thing. Imagine CDPR site having this, right? So it got changed in 8.5 to get the Foglet ability. Before 8.5, Foglets had this exact ability. It used to be damage random enemy by 2 and had a Death Wish of repeating deployability. I would honestly love it if it would go back to this. But maybe the numbers could be a little bit bigger. Teddy BR. Cool, Gropa. Are they still active in Gwent? Maybe I should put chat on the screen. I will be right back, Joe. Yeah, we've been missing your commentary on this video. There you go. That sounds way better, right? Like, it was like you could combo this with a Drowner, right? Or combo this with the 5p Necrophage thing that does 5 damage. I forget what it's called. Rotfiend, yes. Like, you could like, I liked, you know, there are a few cards in Monsters that have a small amount of damage that you can combo with other stuff and use it in very clever ways. Like currently something I use is Damsel, which is a card I really like. It's an interesting design. It has Thrive, and it destroys an enemy unit that's half of its power or less, right? So, like if your Damsel is 4 power, you can destroy an enemy 2. If it's 5, you can destroy an enemy 3. If it's 6, you can destroy an enemy 3. If you Thrive it to like 8, you can destroy an enemy 4. So like I use it with TA. Like I Thrive it maybe once or twice, and then I TA it, and I can kill 5 or 6. It's very useful. I would love it if this had a Death Wish that was like infuse adjacent units with Thrive, right? So that you can combine Consumes with Thrive, because Consumes and Thrive go together very well. Consumes and Thrives, because when you consume something, you become bigger, and then you can proc Thrives. And we used to play Consumes and Thrives together with Haunt, and like there was some cool synergy there, but you don't have that anymore. There's no reason. Now a Thrive deck is a Thrive deck, and a Death Wish deck is a Death Wish deck, and Consumes are only for Death Wish and nothing else. Like, also, like, how bad is it that we're begging for like 2 damage deck? Anyway, this is what it used to do at 1.3, but even before that, in beta, it had an even cooler. But this is not the beta version, right? This is Homecoming. So this used to have Thrive. Yeah. Oh my God! Look, this used to have Thrive, and it was 1 power. Then they made it 2 power and took away its Thrive, but still had the Death Wish. And then now it just has Death Wish. Can I find beta? Find it here? Does anybody know what Archespores did in beta? It was like related to weather, right? Thanks, girl. Current Catwitcher ability? Really? Archespore used to jump with Neuros and damage stuff. Whoa, Miyamon with the raid. Welcome, everyone. We are reviewing the patch notes. Yeah, but it would only move lanes that, Dave, when weather was applied, right? Was there no weather interaction with Archespore? Welcome, Miyamon. Yes. Sam, you did it wrong. It's Miyamon. It wasn't linked to weather at all. What was tied to weather? Roaring, you would know. Wasn't there some monster card that was like that would foglets were like come back from the deck or graveyard when you apply fog? That's cool. Like that makes actual sense. You know, they're foglets. You apply fog, foglets come out of the deck or graveyard. Just like crows. What's wrong with that? Why can't we just get that back? Can we get that back? Like nobody likes this new foglet. Ancient foglets are what foglets wait, no. They would boost by 4 if there was fog on the opposite row when you played them, right? So like you wanted foglets with ancient foglets together. There was fog which would pop out of deck, and ancient fog which would increase by 1 when there's fog on the opponent's. Oh, okay. I feel like there was something that would boost by 4, but maybe I'm wrong. Bridge Troll could move around. Man. Alright, okay. Less nostalgia, I guess. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the monster changes. So we did Verena, we did Archespore, and oh. Hold on, let me refresh. Is this what hey, can you guys check out this link and tell me if if this is the changes that you see also, or I just want to make sure it's not like a bug on my end. So this is the only change we're getting for monsters? It's more than enough. Well, okay. Now that Archospores have the curse tag. Well, golly gee. I'm sure I'll play them now in my curse deck that runs Thrive. What does this do? When was the last time you saw Eltibald in Pro Rank? Sam literally took a screenshot of the patch notes. Yes, Sam, that was a bit. I was doing a bit. When there was no do one resurrected unit. Like what's the... Oh my god, Sam, you took me for real? I'm sorry. Oh my god. He's like, bruh. Sorry, buddy. I'll be right back. Yo, thanks for the follow, Magiri Tree. I just noticed my alerts weren't on. It should be fixed now. Major, if I want to buff V during Affinity, I mean, I don't care. Buff V all you want. As long as there's control like options to deal with it, you know. I mean, I think V is a silly card, and I've never enjoyed playing it personally. But listen, man, if it really like gets you off to play Vi and then eat Vi and then play Vi and then eat Vi, you know, who am I to say no, right? We're not here to shame. Yeah. What's the most important MO change they failed to make in these patch notes? I mean, that's a very big question. Like, I guess, is there an urgent thing that needs to be addressed in monsters? So like, I think let me talk about, I guess. Let's assume that we have full control and we can modify 500 cards in the first balance update. We can change their power provision to whatever we want. So I say that as an exercise to say, let's set all of the power provision changes aside and just focus on things where the card text is going to be a problem moving forward. Right? Like, for example, Night Raid's not a good card, but if this was 6 power, it'd be fine, right? Like, you'd play it for sure. It would be like an 8 for 4. Great. 3 bodies. You'd play with a 5 body even. Right? So those things like, and there's cards like this that like make no sense. But if this was, I don't know, it doesn't matter, right? It's like a redundant card. Yes, would it be better if it was like a different card? Sure, but it's not some core problem. Same with this, right? Like this needs to be like 6 power for anyone to want to play it again. This needs to be like 8 power again. Like, I don't know, but like those cards can be fixed with power provision changes. What I would have loved would have been things like just things to add a bit more flexibility to the faction. Like, I would have loved if this had a range row that it could consume, like, it was like Ozrol, it could consume something from the enemy graveyard. Right? It's a 5p card. It's a 5p squirrel that isn't a squirrel, and it's like, can we just give it like a ranged ability? You know, or like, we'll change it to 5p as soon as possible. This should also be 5p. Like, why is this 6p? No one's gonna play this ever. Can golds be 5 provisions? Yeah. So then maybe, you know, this power and like the text on this is terrible. Damage enemy unit by 1. If it's bleeding damage, deal 3 damage. Like, what is that? This is from like an era where like 1 and 3 damage mattered. This should be at least 2 and 4. At least. Right? Like, if I'm gonna kill something that's bleeding, removing a bleeding target from the board, which bleeding targets are good for Oriana, for Gark, whatever, right? Like, yeah. That's a card that could use a rework or you know, like a change that isn't just power provision. Like, I don't think making this 4 provision is the solution. Although at 4 provisions, I would play it for sure. Even at this one. Whoa, Grab! Thank you so much for the 10 gifts.
I'm not a judge or jury, but I can tell you this. He won't sell anybody out to buy his future.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And that, my friends, is called integrity.
Thank you for the integrity.
Sibby sub hype.
Well, there's lots of things horribly dire missing with MO, but that should have been in the last patch where they added new cards.
You need people like
They should have given, if they were going to make a vampire, they should have given us some removal or some ability to convert bleed into tempo or convert bleed into damage or convert bleed into boost. Like remove bleed from a target and do a thing with that. They didn't. There are a lot of power provision changes, but I'm skipping those, right? Again, like, this card, if it was 5p, you'd play it. 6p, you'd probably think about playing it. Same with this card. Like, there's a lot of, like, 7 and, like, 6, 7, and 8 is, like, the monster, like, graveyard right now. There's just so many terrible cards. But again, if this was 6p, you might play it. I mean, Udalryk is... Like, old Udalryk was better than this. This card is literally a reworked card that has never seen play. Gale should also reply bleeding on Deathblow. That would be an interesting change to Gale. Like if you get a death blow, like move the bleeding to a different target. That'd be cool. Like you could stack bleeds on something, then use Gale death blow to move all the bleeds to another target, or like rupture it. Like death blow, apply 3 bleed to adjacent units or something, or 2 bleed, whatever. Like if I'm killing something that has bleeding on it, at least like have contagion or spread or rupture or something to it. Like, yeah. But Prisco, I think it's kind of pointless at this point to talk about like cards that I think are just dumb that literally just got added or just got changed and reworked and like see zero play. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any that fit that exact description, but I feel like there are some cards that are really dumb that just got a full rework that somehow went from a bad card to a worse card. I can't quite think of any, but if anybody knows any cards like that, just let me know. For some reason, I keep thinking of the Northern Realms card that's devotion only, but there's a monster card that's like similar. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Nilfgaard. I beg you stop. A fawn. Okay, let's talk about a fawn. Here's a fawn's current ability. No, that's Ramon. Sorry, a fawn. They all look alike, man. Right now it says once all leader charges are used up, play this unit from your deck. And the order is boost allied soldiers with armor by 1. So it's like a roach, or not really roach. It's more like Radovid or like a Deadeye that you get when you use all your leader charges in Precision Strike. Right? So that's what it does today. When you use all your charges, it comes out of the deck. You get to play it. It's not summoned. You get to play it. Right? Which matters for crossbows because they only work if you play a soldier. Or the end of turn really only triggers if you play a soldier. It matters if this is infused with a cultist tag, for example. And it matters if your opponent gave this to you via Henry and you're assimilate. Or if you have some Thrive units, I guess. Okay, so what's the change? The change is once all leader charges are used up, summon self from your deck to random allied row. If you control these folios with flanking, play self instead and gain zeal. Huh. So now, unless you have 4 units with flanking, it's just gonna get summoned. And then if you do have four with flanking, you get to play it. Well, why didn't they just, instead of saying, if you control at least 4 units with flanking, play self and gain zeal, why don't they just give it deploy, gains zeal? That way, if it bricks, you could play it from hand and use it just to boost all your soldiers. A 10 provision card shouldn't, like, brick into a 3. Like, wouldn't it have been just, like, instead of if you control at least 4 units with flanking, play self instead and gain zeal, why not just say, if you control at least 4 units with flanking, play self instead. That's it. And then change the card text to have deploy, gain zeal. Like, as a designer, whenever you have to, like, have a convoluted explanation or text for something, you should ask yourself, like, in a system, right? And a card game is a system because it has many interacting parts. In any system, if you have to, like, write, like, a 3-sentence thing to describe something that, for all the similar things you don't need that, you should ask yourself, should this be a keyword like order that I can repeat and modularize, or is my ability convoluted for some reason? Have I hard coded it to a specific use case too much? And, like, the answer in this case is yes. Like, reuse the deploy keyword that exists. It's more elegant, and it solves, like, a frustration that, like, I have with King of Beggars, for example, where when you play it, it does nothing. Like, it ruins your entire game when you, like, draw King of Beggars in round 1, 2, or 3. Like, you can say, oh, don't take your last mulligan in round 3, but, like, why? Like, why should a card be, like, if I made a computer game that required that you press the W key to move forward, but every 100 times, like, 1 out of 100 times on random, if you press the W key, it would crash the game, and you would lose your save file and have to start over. Would anybody think that's a good thing? Oh, just try not to press W so much. Like, is that a fun mechanic? Like, it's a card game. Like, this isn't some, like, risk-reward payoff. It's literally like, I'm just trying to draw my cards, man. It's a thing that you do in a card game. I have mulligans. Like, it's not like the card says, you can do this, but instead you only get 1 mulligan per round instead of 2. Like, I would respect that. That would be a trade-off for King of Beggars, right? But it doesn't. It doesn't reduce your mulligans. It doesn't say you don't draw cards. It's just like occasionally fucks you over and decides the entire outcome of the game. Nothing should occasionally screw you over in a manner that you can't control. Nothing in a video game should be like that. It's not fun. Anyway, so as soon as I got to this part, everybody in chat was rejoicing because die cultist scum. Everybody hates cultists. They think, you know, it's a snowball-y and kind of a binary deck that is frustrating to play against when you can't literally remove everything. I personally don't like this change to cultists. And I'll tell you why. I think that if cultists are a problem, then you should fix that problem, right? Like, what this does is literally makes it so if you play cultist, you just hope you run into a devotion deck, in which case you win, because devotion decks or somebody who didn't draw their heat wave, because they can't remove your scenario anyway. So you're probably just gonna play a different leader now, right? Or you just run a bunch of flanking units. Either way, like, it still doesn't change the abusable mechanic of infuse this and then play it to proc your scenario on turn 1. Like, putting it on the second chapter of the scenario would have been a better solution, I think. Like, literally have heat wave or lose the game is not if that's what this is for. Because if it was to improve the card and make it better, I think 4 units of flanking is like too high a condition even for a soldier deck. Because usually, if I already have, like, I want to use, for example, an Imperial formation, I want to use my leader charges to make sure my soldiers stick. If I already have 4 flanking soldiers on the board, my units have already stuck. I don't need to boost them. Why the hell would I boost them now? Like, just so I can get my Afon out and play it and give him all armor, like, as a finisher? Like, Imperial Formation leader is about, like, it's not a finisher leader, okay? Like, Arniolf is a finisher leader. The relict one, forget what it's called. Force of Nature, that's like a finisher or like tempo leader. Oh, with flanking? So they can be anywhere? They don't have to be on the back row either, even? Oh my god. Okay, I'm just gonna run like cultists with pikemans and arbalists. No, arbalestiers don't have flanking. But these guys have flanking. There's no reason not to run these. They're 4 provisions. You can remove them though? Yeah, have fun removing ducal guards. Have you ever tried to kill one of these? Against an Imperial Formation opponent? Look, it comes down as 5. You leader once, you'll need 7 damage to kill this. This is harder to kill than Unseen Elder. you realize, right? It boosts itself by 2. Even if you don't leader this, if you leader something else while this is on the board, you need 7 damage to kill it. Literally, this is immortal. It's a 4 provision card that cannot be killed. So no, like you can't deny 4 units with flanking. Yeah, because we all know Soldier List needed a buff. I mean, yes, undoubtedly this is a buff to a Fawn. I don't know that it's a buff to Soldier decks because Soldier decks weren't playing a Fawn anyway. I don't know. Anyway, I would rather, like, I don't think Heatwave the scenario, we talked about this earlier. Don't have something broken and frustrating in the game and then put something else that's broken and frustrating in the game as a counter to it and say problem solved. Because why, like, now, look, if you're playing a scenario and somebody Heatwaves it, you just feel, like, for a lot of the scenarios, you just feel dumb. And for some of the scenarios, you don't care because you already got the benefit. Because your 11 power Harmony unit is just, or whatever, the spawn unit is still on the board and your opponent, like, is 10 tempo behind. Waste 34 turns to play flankers instead of infusing cultists? Nah. I mean, I don't know how good cultists are going to be, but I'm just saying that, like, this isn't the way to fix them. The way to fix them is to just remove the thing that says if you play a bronze, increase the boost by 1. Or you know, like, just remove the exponential growth somehow. It grows too fast. Or change the way the infusion Death Wish works. Like, those are the things to address because that's the source. Like, this isn't the source of the problem. This is just why they're present in the meta. And this is like, well, I just want them to stop complaining to me about cultists. If there's no cultists on the ladder, players will stop complaining. Job's done. Like, that's it. This is why I fundamentally think that balancing for the meta is the wrong approach to balancing a game. You should not make changes to adjust the meta. You should make changes to the game, and a healthy meta will develop if you balance the cards or add cards that can, like, counter other cards in a healthy way. And it's just like, oh, like, God forbid Renfrey ever becomes dominant again. You'll see cultists again. I remember playing cultists during Renfrey meta because you just knew nobody had Heatwave. So you know, it's like, or when Devotion was buffed, like, for a whole season, and it was meta for a while. Okay, that's how I feel about a Fawn. Let's every single game is cultists and they're literally unbeatable? Yeah, okay. That's because they don't know how to play cultists themselves. Because if they did, they'd play it and they realize that they would lose a lot of games. I'm not saying cultists aren't a problem or super strong. I'm just saying they're harder to play than a lot of people give them credit for. Okay, so the next change is Rosa. Rosa and Edna. I forgot to say marker NG, but... updated tooltip to reflect that only unique aristocrats are counted and that spawn copies gain doomed. That's it. That's the only change. You know, like, I was running, I tried it and then I noticed it doesn't work, so I stopped trying, but I thought it was cool to play an Assimilate deck with Rosa in it. because it was a proactive play, and in a Assimilate deck that doesn't have them for bleeding round 2, you could open with this. And, you know, like, there was some synergy with having some aristocrats in your Assimilate deck. But it's like, they're like, no. You play this in Masquerade Ball. Like, why do we even have a deck builder in the game? Just give us 6 starter decks and then let us battle our Pokemon together. Like, just let us like change our skins and stuff. Like, all we need is like just avatar title border change and change the skin, and we don't need a deck builder. If you're gonna make all the decks for us, Legion, like, just why don't you just come to my house and play on my computer? Like, I don't know. Like, that's what I say to all the cards that say X number of Y in your starting deck. This is only a tooltip change, yes. I'm just saying, like, I was disappointed with this card, and rather than make it like this thing where, like, right now, just so everybody understands the change. If you have 2 of these in your deck, Rosa still only damages by 1 because it only counts unique aristocrats. And I just thought that was a bug, but now they've codified the bug as basically intentional, that's how they want the card to work, which makes me so I was just hoping that, like, rather than say, like, this is how we want the card to work, that they would have, like, changed the card a bit. Because I also got like, saw that Deathwind Autos has counter 6. I'm like, oh, so they noticed the Masquerade Ball was problematic. But that's not the case. So let's just disappointed. If you remove unique, it'll be too OP in all in aristocrats. I mean, it already does 10 damage. Who cares if it does 15? I mean, does it really matter? Like anything beyond 6 is overkill in a Masquerade Ball deck, because they have, like, Philippe and Rompali and poisons and, like, a million ways to remove stuff. What does it matter if it's 15 damage or 12 or 10? None of my mods are, like, helping out. Now you can't machine gun Sigvald? You could never machine gun. Oh, with Deathwing Arbalists. So this right now, whenever an enemy gains a status during your turn, damage it by 4. They're changing it and giving it a counter 6, which means they're fine with a 4 provision card playing for 10 points. You hear the sound the guy makes? That's me. That's me when I see Nilfgaard 4 provision cards. That's me in the corner. Losing my religion. And this is the dev team trying to claw my eyes out with their changes. It's just... I mean, sure, it's a good... I mean, it's in there. What's the most important NG change they failed to make? Henry needs to show the cards it created for both players. I'm sorry, but, like, having stealth cards created that could be literally any legendary, it was a problem with Temple. We begged and pleaded and complained, and after, like, a year, they finally added a tooltip. Why don't we have a tooltip for this? Oh, did they add it? Okay. Okay, fine. What's the most important NG change? I mean, probably battle stations and marines. Like, this card is so dumb, and it didn't get touched from what I see. Unless it was like a bug fix that affects it. This card is also giga dumb. Like, this is Snowdrop and Witcher Mentor in one. Like, it's just like, what? This is Piggy and Fisher King in one without Sabbath. Like, and can get armor if you put it on Ranger. Like, what the hell is this card, man? Those will be provision nerfed? Provision nerf isn't gonna fix this. Soldiers decks have provisions to spare anyway. They don't care. They got so many provisions they're playing Primordial Dao in their decks and laughing at you. With their, like, still managing to fit 3 tall removals. Like, come on. Like, you need provisions for golds, but why would you need golds when this is literally better than Pugo? Like, and you can play it 4 times. Like, the only gold you need is Ramon, because this guy plays for 14 and gives armor. Like, okay. Forge needs provision nerf. They gave it a provision buff because it was so not used. Because everybody was playing Imprisonment because Imprisonment was so good. And then they nerfed Imprisonment and then people were like, fine, we'll play Imperial Formation. Like, it got buffed to 16p not that long ago. 16 provisions, yeah. What other Nilfgaard changes would I like to have seen? Aside from battle stations and marines? I mean, there's bigger stuff, but nothing that I ever thought would be happening in a patch note. The bigger stuff is, like, I don't like the way Assimilate works. It shouldn't be cards not from your starting deck. It should be cards from your opponent's starting deck. Like, you shouldn't get Assimilate procs from Stefan's Stars. That makes no sense to me. This is a card you created. Vigo making a copy of your own bronzes isn't assimilating anything. It's like me, like, saying hi to my sister and then telling, oh guys, I made a new friend today. No, you didn't. You didn't. You just talked to your sister. Like, Vigo's playing one of your own bronzes. He's not assimilating shit. This card, you know, like... Like, why do you exist again? This, I don't know. Like, why do dames get boosted when I apply status to my units during my turn? Dathran Obelisk don't have that. Funeral Boats lost that. Why did this keep it? This should have gone away. Like, why do I just lose because I'm playing Symbiosis and he has Thirsty Dame? That's it? Like, game over? You're not allowed to give yourself Vitality anymore? Like, why does this have flanking and, like, why does this get armor also? So, like, even if you put it in melee row, if they don't get to use the charges, there's no downside. Meanwhile, Nekkarat, if I don't use the charge that turn, like, it's lost. And I have to use the charge before I play a Vampire because it's a cooldown, not a charge. Like, why is Nekkarat at 5p worse than Pikeman in literally every way? And I'm sorry, if you stab me with a spear, I'm not gonna bleed. Like, I take damage, okay? Like, like, how does Pikeman and bleeding make any sense? Like, oh, you got pierced through the chest with a long pokey stick. You will die in 6 turns. Like, what? No, I'm saying because bleeding is damage over time. It's about a slow death, right? I don't consider getting stabbed with a spear to be a slow death. Yeah, I've been run through with a 9-foot pike. I'm very concerned I might be bleeding a bit. You only die in 6 turns if he pokes you 6 times? Who says I have 6 HP? Maybe I'm just a wild hunt hound. Deploy the thumbtack man. Yeah, like, these are the Alba thumbtacks. Like, why are these... It was better before. Like, thematically, they used to do 1 damage. And I get that some... like, so-called designer somewhere thought that there was elegance into all the Alba guys give statuses, you see? Because I put all the, like, the keyword Alba and the word status are in the same, so it's like a theme, yeah? I made a theme. I am smart guy. Look at the elegance of my design. There are 3 cards with the word Alba, and all 3 have a status in them. That's not how you make a theme, buddy. Like, that's like submitting an essay and saying, I have every paragraph starting with the letter T. That's my theme. Because theme also starts with the letter T. Get it? Put that on your AP language exam. Like, I don't know. I'm not impressed, okay, by the reworks they did. Like, the theme of each, like, faction within Nilfgaard should have been something more interesting that is lore related, not like mechanics of card tags related. That's actually a cool theme for essay. No, that's a cool alliteration for your essay. No, I think the real theme was the rants we made along the way. Let's move on to the northern realms of Clownia. Okay. Princess Ada. Oh boy, I can't wait to read what this change is going to be. Wait, how many provisions is she? Oh, there she is. I haven't crafted this card. You know when somebody asked me if I have all the cards? I lied. Wait, did I lie? Hold on. Wait, it says 202 out of 202. Is this bugged? They never increased them. When they've added new cards, they've never updated this? This is a known bug? It's not working for a long time. It's okay, GWENTFINITY will fix it. Whatever, man. I mean, that can't be that hard. Surely, updating, like, just... Can I pay an intern to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? You know, just count all the Northern Realms cards and then update that number? Please tell me that's a number somebody can update somewhere, right? I don't even care if it's hard-coded. Like, you should be able to count and then change that number. Like, I don't even care. Like, fine. Hard-coded. I don't care. You're not going to add any more cards after GWENTFINITY. Fix it. Just as a matter of principle. If I had anything to do with any part of the software before GWENTFINITY, I would make it my life's mission that if it was at all humanly possible, I would freaking fix this Pro Rank ladder bug. You saw how I clicked 3 times so I can see Lirio up top as opposed to like Hoover was randomly showing up? Like, I feel like every night before I go to bed, I would feel shame if I had worked on this software and this was still a known bug, like 6 years after launch. I can't fathom like how people live with like such a lack of pride in their work. I just don't. I don't. You know, like the number of cards thing. Maybe somebody's not aware, right? I don't know. I wasn't aware, but I also don't care about those things. Like, the Pro Rank ladder is something people actively use. Like, it's just... Maybe they don't work there for 4 years already. Yeah, they've been working on the next Cyberpunk. They fix deck builder where card out gets swapped? No. Why would they fix that? Bro, come on now. We're asking for a 204 to be changed to 211, and that's not done. You think they fixed a bug that's like probably related to how they made their, like how the engine works and stuff is rendered? Like, come on. All right, anyway. Back to Princess Black and White. Here, I'll craft it. I'll craft it in honor of this video. Cards have been disappearing randomly. I haven't experienced that myself, but I believe you. Ability change to deploy devotion. Gain immunity. The first time a cursed unit enters the battlefield during your turn! They changed it to during your... Or was that just the tooltip update? I mean, I'm glad they made that change. It was like the first thing I complained about. Because like, why should your opponent be punished for playing Maxi or Archespore? But it's still a terrible card. Like a silly card. Like, so uninteresting. Like, there's not even like anything clever you can do with it. Like, at least with Ivo, as you know, silly as that change was, like there's like memes you can do with it. I don't know of any memes you can do with this. They actually nerf out it? Technically, yes, but you know, whatever. Does it matter? Like, if a tree dies in the forest, if an Ada gets nerfed in the forest, but nobody was playing it anyway, did it really get nerfed? That's it. Kirsten, I need some good bronze, not some brain dead gold card. Yeah, like, you know, just give him a 10 for 4. That will fix the archetype. Give him just give him like timer 10. Okay, I'm making a card. Just have like a, instead of a Cursed Knight, just have a card called Cursed Squire, and it has 4 base power with a timer 10. Boosts up, transform into a Cursed Knight and boosts off by 4. And so that Cursed Squire on deploy reduces the timer by 2 for every Cursed Knight in your hand or something. There. Can I get a job now at CDPR? Okay, I'll stop. I probably won't stop, but I'll move on. Here's Radovid Judgment. Let's craft this card too so you all can see the beautiful artwork, which has always been the highlight of Gwent. Once all leader charges are used up, summon self from your deck to the melee row. It has been updated. Added new part of the ability. Order. Damage an enemy unit by 0. Increase value by 1 for each time you use your leader ability this game. So... But it's devotion. So no decoy, but you can, in theory, use temple. It's gonna be 6. It's gonna be 11 points. That's a lot. Like an 11-point roach, but like it's 6 power and 5 damage. That's a significant buff. Yeah, like, of course, most likely it will still require you keeping this in your deck till round 3, which takes all the thinning benefit out of it. So it's kind of justified to have some other payoff. And like boost a unit by 4, it would just be another like, I'm going to use this to buff my unboosted Enseus. Not that it matters because all Enseus has been boosted by 9 because Temple exists. But yeah, it's a good change, but doesn't address the devotion, which is the real reason it doesn't get played. I mean, I think I've said everything there is to say about devotion in general. So, like, delete devotion from the game. Let's all move on. Like, is there any devotion card that would break the game if it was available in non-devotion? Unseen Elder would actually be worse in a lot of cases. I guess Amnesty would be really good. It would be 8 for 5. The new Ada! Right, the new Ada! Junior and... I mean, the only nice thing about Junior having a devotion requirement right now is that when they play a non-devotion card, you're like, oh, I guess I know they don't have Junior. But like, open decklist will solve that problem too. So just make Junior 11 provision and make and buff what's his name instead? Cleaver. To compensate. I don't know. Or make Junior 5 power and 11p. Something. And then take away his, like, just... But that's it, right? Aside from Junior and the new Ada, I can't think of any devotion card that would somehow break the game if devotion was removed. When I say if devotion was removed, as in give every card that has a condition of devotion its ability back. Just let them be. Like, not require devotion. Like, does Amir's Yoink really make a difference? Like, would you start playing this in non-Masquerade Ball decks? Just for the Yoink? No. You're either playing this or you're not. Same with this. Like, nobody's playing this Varaxis for its, like, whenever you play a soldier boosted by 1 ability. That's not a thing. Oberon's pretty much only played in Devotion. Herald... I mean, the third form is nice, but, like... you know, it's like, not... Like, Usurper is literally useless without Devotion, so that's the only way it will ever get played. I think this would be fine in non-Devo. I don't care. Like, I just don't care about a 10 power immune unit anymore. Soul's been in the game long enough, I don't care about this. Like, COC exists. Would Unseen Elder be overpowered if it just had the bleeding triggers at the end of your turn baseline? No. And for all the people saying, oh, that would suck for Oriana, just play it. Play it right. If one of your cards has a slight anti-synergy with another card, then don't play them at the same time. People have been running Sov and COC in the same deck forever. It's perfectly fine. Ternalia abused with Dwims with this Devotion thing. Okay, just delete Dwims. Delete Devotion and delete Dwims. Does anybody care if Dwims suddenly stop showing up to work one day? What have Dwims ever contributed to the game that hasn't been annoying, frustrating, or abusive? You don't need to play Varaxis, Dave, because Temple exists. Dwims have cute sheep? Okay, don't delete the art. Just change it to another ability. I'm sure we can find something for Dwims. Give him some retraining. To be honest, to be frank, Usurper and Symbiotic are more problematic with their ceiling and how hard it is to deal with them. Yeah, these guys, this requires a 7 removal, and this requires a 10 removal that can kill immunity. Like, but I'm just saying that, like, right now, Devotion is like a thing that messes up the game. Like, would anybody care if this was available in non-Devotion? Or this? Or this? Or this? Like, this is just a feed. I think it would be fine, to be honest. Like, why does it matter if I can tutor a Wild Hunt unit with Gales in a non-Devotion deck? Yeah, Junior, I said, might need a nerf. I suggested maybe like 5 power, 11 provisions. I don't know. But, like, you can balance things in other ways than devotion to compensate if it really becomes a problem for any card. Like, is Ulrich really gonna be a problem if you remove the like? I'd say like 80 to 90% of these cards could literally lose the devotion tag tomorrow and it'd be fine. And that's it. When we talk about devotion, oh, you guys can't see my whole screen. Sorry. When we talk about devotion, like, this is literally all we're talking about. Like a page and a half, like less than half, right? It's 25 cards in the game that have devotion. And it's been such a headache and such a weird thing to have in the game. Like, yes, this is a problem. This is a dumb card. I'm sorry. Just, I don't know. I don't know what to do about this one. Make it 16 provisions and we'll never see it again. But like, is it really? Is the immunity really the thing that's making this like played or not played? No, it's just that like, all it does is go tall and it gets answered and then your whole deck is dumb. Because you play a bunch of dumb cursed units. War of Clans could be a problem. Amnesty. And then Tyrannalia is the only artifact. So, like, 29 cards in the entire freaking game of 1600 cards have the devotion tag. How much of a headache has it been to, like, balance devotion and non-devotion and this and that and buff devotion archetypes and blah, 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 and this is binary and you have to have heat wave and you can't, and, like, holy crap, how many times have you lost because you're playing a deck that can't have squirrel? Like, just remove devotion. Like, they have spent so much time trying to deal with the ramifications of devotions, and it's still not good, and it's still not healthy. They could have just removed it and improved the game and balanced the 3 cards that need to be balanced accordingly. God damn. Because I promise you, old critters are not going to be a problem if you remove the devotion requirement. Oh no! 2 bodies, 2 times 2 plus a 4 bleed, 8 for 4 over 4 turns. Wow. Have they removed keywords before? Sure. They've reworked cards. Oh, like an entire keyword? Yes, they have reworked keywords before. The example I would like to use is Rupture. A card so bad you don't even play it in Devotion, Blaze of Glory with King Bran. Like, you still don't play the third B in that deck. And oh wait, why does this say Rupture? Oh, because Corruption. And then Corrupted. Okay, ignore those. Oh, this was so bad that they decided to give it to monsters. They reworked cooldown. They changed warfare, or what's the resupply? They reworked resupply as a keyword, and this was how Siege became playable again. They removed strengthen. Okay. It knows how to rework Omen? Yeah, restrict it to bronzes and then remove the Doomed and Rupture nonsense from it. And the Veiled thing. Like what? Oh. Just say summon 2 non-neutral bronze units from your deck. That's it. If you want to pay 11 provisions to thin 2 bronzes from your deck, you get to play this special. Tell me how that would be a problem. Bronze units. I shouldn't call that bronze. I should do... Like, which of these 2 cards would you consider game-breaking if they got summoned? And before you say anything, obviously these 2. But these say these have a deploy. So no, not even those 2. 2 Foglets? I mean, you'd have to lead her twice. Or Ancient Foglets, rather. You'd have to lead her twice to get him to 6. Otherwise, one of them dies. And also, then they use both Foglets in one round. And, like, does it really matter? 2 Griffins. I can see 2 Griffins. But, like, 11 for 18, is that really that different than other 11 provision cards? I mean, I just like to point out that this is an 11 provision card. They're talking about Ithne, I think, Ronian. Oh, Dana? Oh, Dana! Dana? Dana's not symbiosis. You're talking about Ithne, right? This one. Because it's immune and 10 power and has symbiosis 3. Like, this is a lot of points. Only reason people don't play this is because of Equinox. You think he means Rainfarn? Yeah. Let's all say what we think Puzzle thinks, as if he's not here. What were we talking about before that? Omen, Penitent, Mamuna. Yo, BRG fan. Omening. No, I said bronze. I specifically said bronze. Penitent is a gold. Literally, the only, like, strong, like, oh, this is a lot of points in one turn thing is Griffin. Which is, like, I mean, that's the same price as Mamuna, though. Right? I mean, Mamuna's 12. But Mamuna lets you... has many options. It doesn't, like... It's not just Griffins. And, like... 11... Like, if you look at 11 provision cards... Oh, what is this? I mean, this is also an engine. But it plays for... Let's say it has one crown splitter on its side. 1 plus 5 plus 5. Like, this plays for like 11 points, and it's an engine and is a spender. Like, this plays for 25 points. This easily plays for 18 points. Like, some games. Same. I don't know. 11-point cards are actually in a terrible state. There's so many bad ones
Swanee
here.
just followed.
This is probably the best 11p. This plays for way more than 18. Like, I still don't think that would be a problem because dude had to put 2 Griffins in his deck, and and Omen only can like summon both if both are in the deck. And like, if the guy has 2 of a bronze and didn't draw any of them, like, I think it's fine for Omen to pull them out. Again, like, I just don't see like how summoning 2 of any of these is that much of a problem.
You need people
Heck,
like
you
me.
can summon a Necrorat and a Flutter, and like, so what? You can summon 2 Larva, which is the same as playing 1 Larva. 2 Self-Eaters, but they'd be on the same row. That's not ideal. But again, they played an 11 provision tutor to get 2 cards. And it's summon, not play. Like, so it doesn't proc any other synergies. I think you change Omen to bronze and you remove Doom and Rupture, and it's perfectly fine. Thanks for the follow, guys. Welcome to the stream. Swanlee and Alec Max. Portal for all Bunzes? I mean, I guess, but it... Give it the devotion tag. There you go. But like, Portal's so bad that like comparing stuff to a card that isn't played isn't a way to say this is overpowered. Portal is literally like terrible, and it's only used for memes and abuse decks, for very specific card combos. Yeah, Portal could be 10p and we might play it. Okay, let's move on from this part of the conversation. We're taking too long. Let's talk about Selkirk. Now has the curse tag. Is there something coming with curse tag that I don't know about? Like, why is this a thing that we're getting in the last patch before Gwent? Like, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, this is the last time they can make fundamental changes to cards. And we're getting Curse Tag on Archespore and on Selkirk. Chich, stop it. Alba Pikeman disagree. People have just been complaining he wasn't cursed. Because he's got like, okay, he's a Spectre. Fine. He's cursed. But there's no, like, if... I'm fine with that. But also, like... do something with this card. Say like deploy. If you control like, you know, another, if you play it next to a curse unit, gain zeal. Something. Like, I don't think this would be overpowered if you played it and it got zeal. Like, it requires setup. Okay? Just like, if you're gonna go through the trouble of giving Curse Tag to Selkirk, just also make this other change. Or you make it 4 power or something. Yeah. Or both. I mean, it's very, like, trust me, I haven't forgotten how annoying playing against Drog decks can be when you can't answer a Revenant. But, like, it was like meditating mages that kill you, kind of, in a way. But, like, because they're there and you just know that he's, like, especially when they like move them different row and get a million units in the graveyard and then Pavetta them and then Erland and anyway, there's a lot of nonsense you can do with this card, but also it's cool nonsense. It's the kind of clever nonsense that should be encouraged in Gwent rather than Keck W. I have Care Trolled on the board. Everything you play will die. Ha 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 ha. My Sigvold is 69 points. Suck it. That is not clever gameplay. You know, like I got my butt kicked by some like Japanese player who was like still playing Revenants a year ago and like played some weird deck and he just like did some stuff that clearly he had done a million times or they had done a million times, and I was just like, I lost that game, but claps to opponent. Like I obviously had no clue how to play against his deck and it was fine. I didn't feel terrible. Vandergrift now also has the Curse Tag. Oh boy. Like Scoia'tael. I mean, as far as NR, like overall, what did I want to have seen this patch? Mutagenerator. Maybe reduce, like, excuse me. Instead of 5 random units in your deck, make the deck part like 3. Boost 3 random units or 2 random units, and then leave the other one at 5. Because this takes a while to ramp up, but from turn 1, playing on Ranger will boost everything in the deck. You did mention Muta? Yeah, I believe you. It's just... What else? What else in NR is like severely in need of a... Yeah, I'm not going to comment on cards that literally just got changed and saw even less play than before. I guess provision buffs can change some of these. I'll keep forgetting this is the card. You guys remember this card? It's so cool, but stuck in a dumb faction. I don't comment. There's so many NR cards I haven't even crafted. I mean, this card is still dumb, but it's not like anyone's playing it, so I don't really care. This is still a card. It's also got reworked recently, I think. Like, if I have 6 soldiers on the board, my soldiers will kill stuff. Thank you very much. I don't need a special. And it's warfare. Like, it would be good with Siege, but Siege doesn't have that many soldiers on the board. Unless you've like already been using your stockpile cooldowns and like. All right. This is a toxic card. Someday we'll come to regret this card existing. It's just waiting for the problem to surface. I mean, I still think scouts and casting contests are a problem. Not that they're like OP or anything, but just I would have very much liked casting contest to only if it's a bronze mage. This should say bronze mage. Casting contest resetting the cooldown of a bronze siege engine or a soldier is idiotic, unnecessary, and actually bad for the game. Because like, oh, the scout already used this ability. I guess I don't need to kill it. Nope, yes you do, because they might casting contest it. What the fuck? At least teleport resets the power. This doesn't even do that. They can boost the scout and then casting contest it anyway. That's really the main thing I can think of in NR, in addition to like, why doesn't this say non-neutral? Like, why is this any bronze? Doesn't bother me. It's fine. Okay. But like, why? Why can they copy a squirrel or Peller? They're the only faction that can do this. Aside from Nilfgaard copying your stuff, you know, like they can copy their own stuff. Imagine if Nilfgaard could copy their sergeants. Oh wait, yes they can because they have their soldiers. But at least even those are restricted to soldiers. This is any bronze allied unit. Like, why? So you can run one King Cobra and double poison something? Yeah, reinforcements are warfare. They already give you a charge on your siege engines. It's fine. I don't want to go on a reinforcements crusade. It's unless the problems in the game, it's not anywhere near the top. Any other cards that you guys can think of that are that would have been ripe for a rework or a change? I mean, maybe this. There's a few cards in here that I'm not commenting on because they're all tied to the curse archetype, and the curse archetype is just terrible. Temple? Yeah. I mean, Temple's still dumb, but obviously they're never going to change that. Corvo? You can do a lot of stuff with Corvo. Yeah, like alumni in general. But how do you fix alumni without making them toxic? You'd have to rework PMP. If you want to make alumni good again, this card, we got to talk about it. This 4 provision card needs a complete rework. Like replaying the same alumni over and over again is so insane. Gold and 6 power that always has zeal? Sure, but you can only have one in the deck though, right? Because it's a gold. Is PMP restricted to bronzes? Yeah, okay. That's fine. And then you can buff the bad mages. What do you mean? They already buffed this one. You guys remember when they reworked this? And somehow it got worse? How did you make this card worse? I didn't think it was possible to make... Like, I feel like he could have put a bunch of ideas in one of those like bingo things and pulled one out. And doesn't matter, it would have been an improvement. That means that like if you play 2 PMPs, only the first one. Worse than the ST elf, yeah. The 4P guy that like there's with 3 specials boost by 10. Yeah, this guy. Scribe is a good card. Like. This card's still terrible. Like, why doesn't this have a heal on it? Like, why doesn't Field Medic heal something? Why doesn't it do extra if it's healing? What does this card even do? Has anyone ever played this? Other than from like Diplo or Rune Mage or something? Oh god, he's killing a Dryad. Fuck that card. Who does that? Some kind of sick psycho. If she's sawing that guy's arm off, it means boost him by 2, yeah. He cuts throats. Oh my god. The art is literally him cutting a throat. That's not how you cut a throat. That's how you stab someone in the neck from the side while choking them for some reason. Like, what are you afraid? That you're trying to make sure the blood doesn't come out of their mouth? Like, why are you choking them while stabbing them? Don't you think you're going to hit your own hand? Like, that's dangerous. That's poor safety practices. Come on, buddy. Adrenian Mauler? Mauler's like... Oh, wait. Oh, the 4 damage and then 2 click? Yeah, but you could just make this guy like 3 damage and it'd be good. I guess we can't do that in GWENTFINITY. I'm sorry. Because this number is not a number we can touch. We don't have the technology. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to talk about GWENTFINITY. Well, actually, we are going to talk about it after we review the patch changes. But overall, I'm so disappointed with this, like, the whole notion that one power up, down, one provision up, down, made through an in-game voting system is ever gonna be sufficient for a game. Like, just delete the game. It's at least have the decency to. Anyway, Angus. Let's talk about Angus. So this is a very good card, unless you have Heist, in which case it becomes a must answer or lose card and a terrible card, terribly designed card. I mean, also I just think it's bad. It's boring. Like, it starts in your hand. You have to play. You want to play it in round 1 as one of your first few cards, and it just adds +1 to all your Deadeyes. Like, why? Just change Deadeyes to be 4 base power. Like, what does this card add to the game? Other than force you to play some traps. Oh, see, we got the play rate of traps to go up. People should play cards because they want to play those cards. Not because some other card told them you have to play this card. Right? Like, is there anyone who disagrees with me on this? Like, I should want to put a card in my deck because that is a fun card or a good card to play. Or because it solves a problem for me. This does none of those things. Or not this, but like the traps that you put in your deck for this, like, you're only putting them in your deck because of this card. We should come up with my meme list and throw all your money in the gutter. We'll do that tomorrow. I still have some vague hope of making a last-minute climb. You were right about Mahakam? Wait. I haven't read it yet. Oh. Can now create any bronze Scoia'tael dwarves, not only Mahakam dwarves? So what's the change? Updated to reflect that all elven Deadeyes appear on your side of the battlefield are boosted, not just those who were spawned. Yeah, because it affects elves that appear, not just... Okay, so that's just a tooltip change. Mahakam Pass. Right now it says create a Mahakam Dwarf and give it 4 armor. So right now I can only create... What? It already creates all these other ones, doesn't it? Yeah. But it already does that. I've made miners from it. It was bugged and decided the bug was intended. I see. Mock-on bats could really be nice. No, Grab. They specifically have made almost all the new cards and reworks 10 provision, just so you can play it in Golden Necker. Like, they literally have decided that Golden Necker must die. Because community complained too much about Golden Necker. And, like, they don't understand that, like, when we complain about Golden Necker Syndicate, the solution isn't to nerf Roach. Which you just buffed, like, a year ago. Because it was too bad. At, like, 3 power and 9 provisions. But whatever. We can fix Roach. And we can reduce the provision on... Like, they're just done. Listen, they're done. They're tired of us. They're tired of the game. Whatever's left. They're just doing their best. Honestly, like, they mean well. They're trying to get as much done as possible before they all move on. And they're trying to do the most bang for the buck in the areas that will help, they hopium, the long-term health of the game. So we can fix Roach and Vivaldi now? No, we can't, because Vivaldi Bank got buffed when it went to 10 provisions. It gives you an extra coin now. So it has more reach. So if you take it back to 9 provisions, you can't reduce the coins anymore. Because that's a thing we can't change in Gwentfinity. Okay. Popco Gale has Harmony? That's it? Okay. Couldn't you in the same patch also buff Nithrol? I understand, like, I guess they're taking a religious stance on, in Gwentfinity, you'll be able to change power and provision. So in this patch, we're not going to touch any of those. But, like, you could have. Like, just do it anyway. Like, what? I mean... Whatever. Alright, Skellige. Oh, it's cool. They're not... So this is one of the new Skellige cards. Actually a very strong card in an alchemy deck. If you haven't seen my alchemy guide, exclamation alchemy, gets you that. Says the deployability is now limited to the range row. Now damages self by instances of 1. What? What the hell does this mean? Oh, instead of damage self down to 1, it damages self by 1 for... Is that... Why is that? Ping, ping, ping instead of sploosh? Right, but what functional difference does that make? You can drop it next to Heime Protector and get Giga points? Other than Heime Protector, is there any other? Oh, Siri, I guess? Ceres on crate? Does it... So if you play this, does it pull Ceres out instantly? Not that you would really want to play Ceres in an alchemy deck. Joanna? Yeah, technically it also is a buff to Joanna. It damages by the amount of 5 feet. No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's gonna damage itself by the number of Freya's blessings you play. Why can't they just put the new text? Can't you just give us the new card? Like, it's fine that you didn't give me the old card. Could you not copy paste like the full card text? Can you? The deployability is now limited to the ranger. I understand that. Now damage itself by instances of 1 instead of damaging itself down to 1. Is there anything that would set... Okay, so now if you Shillard this, if this is in the opponent's hand and you play Shillard, it would kill itself on deploy. Yeah, Salty. The hand protect combo is cool, but like, Scoia'tael is a round 3 card. Are you really keeping a protector in hand and hoping opponent doesn't kill it just for this? Like, this is better in a short round. The shorter the round, the better. You want a like 4-card round. Do you really want one of those 4 cards to be a protector? This is a functional change. You mean a tooltip change? Damage itself to 1 is vague? No, it's not. It damage itself down to 1 is whatever its power is, it will damage itself and it will become 1. Very clear. Changing it to instances is fine, but we don't need to look at alchemy cards because the only alchemy card this plays is Freya's Blessing. Oh, you don't think it kills itself if it's been Shillarded? But it says damage itself by instances of 1. Do you think the new text says damage itself by instances of 1 until it reaches 1 power? I mean, I guess. It, like, why did it need that? Why isn't it just set power to 1? Deploy range, set power to 1, and play all Freya's blessings. Deploy melee, just... So that, like, if you got unlucky and didn't draw your Freyas or something, he doesn't play for nothing. You can still play a melee row. That change is fine. Like, if you have 8 alchemy cards in your deck... here, let's show all the alchemy cards. You're not running this. Let's say you play 2 Rhizomes, 2 let's say you play 2 Rhizomes, 2 Ales, 2 Froths. I mean, you're not playing. But let's just say you play 10 alchemy cards, okay? That's very high. But let's just say you do. Then your Scoia'tael is, you know, 11 power. That's a cool sound. That's a cool premium. Whoa, hey. Svalblood got nerfed. Damage required to spawn a Svalblood changed from 6 to 8. Is that a nerf? Makes it slightly worse in a... There's just going to be some games where it can be a brick now if the round is really short? Oh my god, he's only 13p? I just now noticed that. Gavin. For some reason, I just assumed he was 14. Not that it matters. Like, cards like this, you play it or you don't play it. Like, there's no... You're not haggling over one provision. You think it just looks cooler to damage itself to 1 by instances of 1? Okay, fine. But that's gonna buff like enemy greatswords and would be better if the spawn condition didn't trigger on his own damage. Yeah, but it would also like increase the gap between his floor and ceiling. It would become an answer or lose card. Like, I'd rather a card be OP on deploy because then we can just nerf the card than have it be sometimes OP and sometimes garbage. Opponent's dagger buff, yeah. Don't think actual self-wound is too affected. Nerf the Arniolf deck? Those are the same thing. The Arniolf deck plays Sigvald and Canute. It's a self-wound deck at this point. What does it matter if you're using Ursine Ritual or Pastoral Fury? No, but for sure this is going to be a nerf. 6 to 8 or whatever, but like the things that make this card ridiculous are the fact that the damage all can trigger more than once a turn. If they really wanted to fix it, they would just make this first part. This says that whenever a bear abomination enters your side battlefield, repeated deployability changes to the first time a bear abomination enters your side. Like, if you just change it to that, it would have a deploy of like 13 plus, you know, the number of enemy units minus your units, and it'd be fine. But it would be a lot less fun also. The fact that you can kill a 4-power Erland by just playing this, you'll still be able to do it, even with 8. It won't really matter. All you need is 3 units on each side to trigger 6, or 4 units on each side to trigger 8. But you can create units on their side with your leader, so it doesn't really matter. If blob sticks, you build mostly anyways? If you play blob, you mostly win anyways. Whether it sticks or not, doesn't matter. If it sticks, you win by 50 points instead of 30 points. But, like, the sticking isn't... Like, the sticking is like... What's a good example? It's like decoying a Letitia and then playing it again with Decree to click it again. Like, yes, that's a huge impact, but, like, not even. Doesn't matter. Opponent got a Letitia and got to click it. Like, you already got hosed. Whether they play that same Letitia with Renew just so they can click it again doesn't really... Blob counts itself? Yeah. So you need, like... With Blob... Like, Blob spawns a unit, right? On deploy. Well, not yet. It damages everything on deploy, including himself. So you need to have... Like, the total number of units on the board, including Blob, need to be 8 for his deploy to spawn a bear immediately. But if there's only like 6 bodies total, like you only have 2 units and opponent only has 3 units, and you drop this, you just leader twice with Arniolf, and that's still 8. And then you click your temple. Like 6 to 8 doesn't change anything fundamentally. Like it will be a little bit harder. Like it is a nerf. You'll notice it. But it's not like this deck is not going to be OP just because of that change. Plus, like... Yeah. I love Soblin ever since an NG opponent nuked their own board by copying too many blobs. Yeah. That happened in the finals of the Winner Take All 3 also. Okay. Let's talk about Syndicate. Ixora. Why change from 6 to 8? That's a good change. That's a nerf. I can smell the pro players' recommendation on that one. Is that something you guys talk about? Sportsmanship? Yeah. And then Novigrad got changed to 12p. Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna cut it from my deck now, but fair. Like, it's that good. Novigrad is that good. Yeah, her power could have used a nerf too. Like 8 points is still a lot. It makes it impossible to answer. You have to have a lock. Well, no, Mastigos. That means Care Troll also needs to get nerfed. But I would rather they... Oh, yeah. In terms of what's missing for Syndicate, Care Troll nerf missing is a huge problem. And I would have liked to see... If you ask me, like, what they should have done before, like, leaving it. I don't know how to fix this card, but this card is a... I don't know, pirate scenario is terrible. Like, pirates are just so annoying. But the biggest problem with Skellige is Care Trolled. Fixed tier by thinking about a quest to see how high provisions can go. Oh, don't worry, that's gonna happen. Wait, what is there a max provisions in Gwent? This is just like stupid good. But I would rather like they not make it more expensive. Like, we don't need more 12 and 13 and 14 golds. Like, we need more 7, 8, 6. Like, 6 to 9 golds are terrible. And there's so much reward for putting these, like, expensive golds in your deck. I don't want even more polarized provisions. Because that's more draw your gold gameplay. Play 4Ps, hope your faction has good 4Ps. Play really busted golds, hope you draw your busted golds. Yeah, the armor and the class, like, you don't need both. Or change the clash to a deploy, and then the order to a create. The fact that they can like get another Ancrate longship or get a raider or like it's just. Like deploy. You know, force an enemy unit to clash with an allied unit or something. Clash is worth 0 points? No, it's not. That's not true at all. By that logic, Cyclops should be 12 power because its clash is worth negative points usually. At best, it's worth 0. First of all, when you clash, your armor matters. And in a pirate deck, you have armor. And even in a non-pirate deck, you have cards that either don't mind taking damage in Skellige or they have armor. Like, you clash a Sigvald, you clash a Draco Turtle, you clash an Olaf. Like, that's how, in my opinion, clash should be. Like, if you want, it's just like Death Wish. Like, Consume doesn't give you anything, right? Unless the card has a Death Wish. Why should Clash be any different than a Consume? Consume is also 0 points. Did that ever stop them from making every Consume card 4 for 4 or 5 for 5? Not to mention that you get to remove an enemy unit, right? And you decide which 2 units to clash. Sometimes you want your guy to take damage. Like, I have used Clash on a Fanatic. Right now, I have to hit an 8. So I target this with the Care Troll, and I target an enemy 8. And because this has 6 armor, it will take 2 damage and trigger my Spell Blood. Plus, like, there's lots of synergies with Bloodthirst or with Onslaught, just for enemies taking damage. There's, like, a huge amount of value for Clash that this card would be perfectly fine if you remove the 6 armor. I promise you would still get played exactly at the provision it is. And yeah, if you change the deploy and the order, you can't use it on a dry pass. Similar to how you can't use Novigrad on a dry pass or Candle on a dry pass right now. Unless you run like Boat. There was no NG changes? There was. Not very meaningful ones. A Fawn for cultists. So cultists will just not see play in competitive gameplay unless somebody can figure out a deck that runs soldiers and cultists, which shouldn't be too hard, to be honest. Because the whole Afon thing to play around a heat wave is gone, and then this is a tooltip change, and then Arbalists have its counter 6, which is nice, but maybe Thirsty Dames should also have a counter 6, and then I will stop complaining about them. I still think Van Morlehems, like the entire family, belong in the monster faction, if you ask me. I think Vincent, Philippe, and at least the Van Morlem Hunters. I think these three should be monster cards. Because A, they're vampires, and yeah. Or Devil Faction, yeah. But like, monsters could really use, like right now, some people are playing Escort in monsters, but that limits you to only playing decks that run like beasts and relics and nothing else. You can't put a Peller in your deck, or else your Escort becomes pretty garbage. And like vampires would love to have a tall punish. Oh my god, one removal card in vampires would suddenly make them not shit. But and 3 tempo, 4 provision lock that can bleed like this in monsters, like so good. Also, they're vampires. Give us another option than a Bruxa. Or give Bruxa the same abilities as this. That's fine too, I don't care. Renfree Ramps can run tall removal? Can they, Johnny? Really? Guys, did you know that Renfree Vamps can run tall removal? I wish somebody had told me about this before. I wish I had ever played Igni in Vampires. Oh, he's talking about Cockatrice. True, I should be running Cockatrice in my Renfree Vampires deck. True, that is the tall removal that we need. Just as long as that unit is 2 power or less. Okay, so let's talk about Syndicate. Yeah, Ixora and Overgut. Actually, we already did talk about Syndicate. Let's talk about the bug fixes. Recommended decks in Deck Builder once again display their tooltips. Recommended cards. I can't even get there because my. So what they're talking about is when you're making a new deck. Well, actually, I can show you this way. When you go change ability, when you click like Imprisonment, if you click Tips and Tricks, it will give you some recommended cards like Slave Driver, because this used to do something else, I assume. And right now, it doesn't show you a tooltip. It just tells you, like, shows you some pictures. I bet half of you didn't even know this existed. When I first started the game, I followed this. I tried to follow this. I'm like, oh. And then like I got confused because some of the cards it was suggesting didn't make any sense. But like these 4 actually make sense for formation. But Imprisonment, Slave Driver makes no sense. Tactical Decision. I guess Asire makes sense. Toussaint is actually correct because it's a new one. Enslave. Right, guys. Be sure to run this card in your Enslave decks. Double Cross. Yep. Make sure you run this guy that doesn't have Assimilate anymore, but used to in your Assimilate decks. Make sure to put Glennis in all your Double Cross decks. Imposter is actually accurate, but apparently I don't own Vincent. Vincent's grayed out. I don't know why. Anyway, that's what they're talking about with that part of the patch notes. You're welcome. Use damage enemy units by the amount of locked units? Really? Wow. The shield V effect should no longer remain on board in rare cases after the unit it belonged to leaves play. Holy crap! Talk about burying the lead. Oh my god. Rare cases, my ass. Rare cases, my ass. The only reason it was rare is because shield is rarely used. That's the only thing rare about it. Short is no longer a common beast, but an epic relic. I can't wait to lose to this. I can't wait to lose because one of my opponents, for some reason, is playing it short. And I don't have a way to do 1 damage. Because I use all my removals on self-eaters. Counter 4 provision, you can't wait. I mean, 5 maybe, but 4 would be OP. No more floating shields. This was my favorite feature. You're a bad person. Henry von Otter's spawn cards are now shown on the preview screen. This is also a big change. Thank you. Casting contest no longer disables Grace for bronze units. Huh? I didn't even know this did that. Hold on. Which bronze cards have Grace anyway? Aside from the... Well, there's more than that. Can I... Do I have a filter on? Oh, I'm in a Nilfgaard deck, that's why. Grace. Coop the Grace. This doesn't have an order. This doesn't have an order. It doesn't have an order. Oh, this is a Disgrace Brawler. This doesn't have an order. This is no... No longer disables Grace for bronze units. Which bronze units were you using casting contest on? I mean, okay. I guess if you're Nilfgaard. These twin Arbalest now only damages 1 unit at a time when multiple stats are applied simultaneously. Oh, I feel like this is also bearing the lead a little bit. This should have been with the 6 counter. So when you use I'm sorry. Does this mean that if I use my Art Feign that the Deathrain Arbalest only like if I use my Art Feign and pick something that's both an agent and an aristocrat and therefore apply bleeding and spying, does it still do 2 damage? I didn't know that puzzle. That's good. That's a good fix. Deathwind Arbalest now only damages 1 unit at a time when multiple stats are applied simultaneously. Like, does it damage 1 unit once or 1 unit multiple times? When you stop playing it, there's been no announcement as to any sort of shutting down of Gwent ever. Oh, it's for the counter. But why would it be a bug fix then? There was a problem before where, like, if you were dropping Fergus, you were somehow doing 4 damage rather than 3. There was something. So, but it doesn't play sound with this animations. Okay. Okay, so then this is not a functional change at all. Princess Adam's would no longer grant units move between rows on the same side of the battlefield. Oh my god, this affected. So if you moved an abomination to a different row, it was triggering Svalblood. Holy crap. Tenacious B, what are you talking about? You said, question is, what about positioning Sigvald? Is it still bugged? What do you mean? Blob still takes his counter down when you take frost damage? That's perfectly fine. Weather damage happens on your turn. So if I'm playing SK and somebody applies frost to my row, at the beginning of my turn, I take 2 damage, and that reduces the counter on Blob by 2. That's how it is with all weather effects, Gavin. It's also the reason why, like Cataclysm, the pirate scenario doesn't say during your turn, because they want it to work with weather. And if they said during your turn, then it wouldn't work with its own damage at all. Do you think Gwent would be a better state if we could vote on changes from the beginning? Yes. Depending on how those changes are. Like, if it's just feedback, if it's, you know, like, I mean, obviously there's a way to screw that up, but in general, I think getting direct feedback from players about what cards they feel are too weak or too strong would have been good. When you had Arbalest and you poisoned Sigvald, it gained bleed next status and was hit again and again. Oh. Oh, it was like infinitely hitting it because it was getting a status during your turn. I see. Yeah, I never encountered that, but that makes sense. Sound Mage no longer counts adrenaline inconsistency when reacting to tributes. I don't know what this bug was. Gotta make it top 60 for only so much. Can't weigh in. Fuck you. Okay, so TLDR for this patch. Well, I'm disappointed by the number. Well, we haven't talked about GWENTFINITY yet. We'll talk about that next. I'm disappointed by the number of changes since this is the last patch, but I'm not surprised because they did say that the last one was the the main one. We're not gonna get any more changes. They set the expectation that there wasn't gonna be a lot of changes. There's a lot of like tag stuff, small stuff, some cards that like the boost on them is being changed rather than because they were already 4P and nobody played them, so like. This kind of changes. They're trying to address stuff that we can't fix during GWENTFINITY ourselves, like this Varina change, or like the tags. A font change is good, I guess, in that there'll be less cultists on ladder, but I explained why I don't like that change. Nerf to Arbalest is okay, better than not nerfing them. These are whatever. Radovid's boost buff is significant. It will be a lot more points now, but you still have to play Devotion NR, which is not good. These are again just tags, don't matter. This is a tooltip change. Hofko getting Harmony is nice. He might see play because he's a human, and human is like one of the harder ones to fit into Scoia'tael. Usually people play Abaddon Girl for human, because Hawker Smuggler is too expensive. I'm not saying Popko is going to be good now, but if we reduce its provisions during Gwentfinity, then it will be playable in Harmony. The Nova Necker thing is a change they did so that like we can nerf, like we can make Golden Necker 10 provisions, and it's fine. You could, because right now Golden Necker says if your starting deck doesn't have anything above 9p. They're changing it to if your starting deck has no cards other than Siri Nova and Golden Necker above 9p. That way you can make Siri Nova or Golden Necker itself more expensive without it affecting the other cards, without it breaking their own condition. Yeah, so those are the NR changes. Skellige, making Scoia'tael less of a brick if you didn't play any Freyas that game, I guess is fine. A noticeable nerf to Svalbard, but not a big one, small one. A decent size nerf to Ixora. This is a good change. We'll have to see how it feels, but 8 is a lot more than 6. It's still going to be very strong at 8 power, 8 provisions. And it still needs to be answered, but it will be slightly harder to board wipe someone, I guess. And then some bug fixes. So there is an FAQ that's out for Gwentfinity. And they're saying, what is it? They're introducing what they're calling the Balance Council. By the way, this text is full justified. If any UI devs are here, don't make your text full justified ever. It is harder to read, like objectively harder to read for humans with eyes, because it makes the spaces be various sizes without, like, it disrupts the rhythm of the text. You get this isn't good. Like, this is okay. This is terrible. But even the jagged edges on the right, while it may not look pretty to you, are actually very useful for someone reading to know which line they are. Jagged edges on the right side are good. There's something your eyes use to navigate. Anyway, Balance Council, a voting system. So let's put a marker here. What is the purpose of the Balance Council? Monthly changes to cards. Okay, some nonsense. Deal with the Balance Council. Yeah, okay. Like, this is all fluff. You're doing the Balance Council because you're cutting all the staff that's getting salaried, getting salaries to keep updating Gwent, and you're not making enough money from Gwent to justify paying those people a full-time salary. So, but you want to still keep making money off of this thing that you have because you want people to keep buying journeys and cosmetics and other things. So you're outsourcing the balancing to us, or you're trying to do something so that people don't say the game is dead, by giving us a system to upvote and download cards, without actually having to spend, manpower or human resources on it. There's a minimum vote threshold required per card for a change to go through. See below. Talk to other people. Decide priorities together if you wish to submit your votes. And then all that matters is enough people feel a certain way. Who can vote? In order to vote, you have to be at least Prestige 1, so that you're not like a new account. You've played a decent bit. And either be in Pro Rank or have won 25 ranked games in the current season. Yeah, I think this is a very low bar. Could even be higher, but it's like the minimum I think they should have added. Are we the wrong tag? No, I mean, they do this all the time. Like everywhere. They've always done full justified text in all their things. They just don't, it just looks pretty. This is a very common mistake people make, that they make their text full justified because it looks nice. Because like when they're looking at it, like it's a neat rectangle, but they're not thinking about usability. Because they're not designers, they're aestheticians, or people who think design and aesthetics are the same thing. They're not. Design is how it works. Aesthetics is a preference thing. Design is not a preference thing. It's an objective thing. Some things are objectively better designed. Okay. We want those who participate in the Balance Council to be predominantly be experienced players that are familiar with the current meta. However, we also want to give low-ranked players a chance to be represented as long as they're active in the current season. I mean, I don't mind like low-ranked players having a vote, but like if you're ranked 20, do you even know anything about balance? Even if you're like rank 1, do you really know anything about balance? You know, I don't know. I think the high rank players will be more eager and active in voting anyway, so it will probably work itself out. Rank 20 will be Prestige 1. Prestige 1 is just how much you played. Maybe they just haven't played in a year. So it, like I can stop playing for 6 months and be rank 30, and I'll still be Prestige 1 or higher. How can I participate? You can enter balance counts from the main menu to the menu card. Once open, you'll see an interface similar to Deck Builder. Everything you need to participate is there. Just drag the cards you wish to vote for into the appropriate brackets. Note, the position within the brackets matter. Oh. You can vote for up to 3 cards in each bracket. So I get 12 cards out of 1,600 to express my opinion on. I have opinions on all 1,600 cards. Informed ones, I feel. Oh my god, I accidentally clicked on a link in Gwent. In fact, in this season, I wouldn't even call myself Sir Authority. Yeah, I mean, like, it would be better if there was an actual balance council. When I first read this, I'm like, oh my god, were they watching my stream when I said they should do what StarCraft does and actually have a community council and have some, like, people who we vote on to be in the council, and then those guys can just make the changes they want rather than this weird upvote downvote system? Like, literally Reddit as a design tool is not what anybody would have come up with. Like, do you think at any companies are like, well, we're not sure what the best shape is for this new mouse. How about we make a bunch of Reddit threads and then have people upvote, downvote how big they want the thumb hole to be and how prominent they want this to be, and then just add up all those numbers, and then we'll spit that out into a spreadsheet and turn that into an AutoCAD design. And like, what? No, just have us, like, it would be great if this voting system was just a way to collect data and then the council made human decisions by looking at the data. Like, if you were part of the council, you could see card play rates, card win rate, faction player win rate for each archetype, right? What are the most, like, what's a card's, like, play rate, not just as an inclusion in decks, but also, like, what's a card's number, like, how often is this card actually played in games versus, like, mulliganed, right? Like, or how often does it appear on a board rather than just stays in the deck? Like, that data, you give that to someone like Lirio or Puzzle or whoever, like those people, like, then Shinmiri, like, respected community members who people feel are objective and can represent the interests of a diverse group, like, then making those decisions, and like have one person from anyone but Ecstasis. I mean, literally, I'd rather have Reddit, like all of Reddit, in charge of my life than Ecstasis in charge of anything related to Gwent. All right, so you can pick up to 3 cards in each bracket. What if I only want to, like, what if I don't think anything needs a provision decrease? What if I think everything needs a provision increase? Why is it 3 per bracket? I already have 12 votes out of 1,600. Like, this is only gonna result in, like, everybody voting tryhard. Like, your vote won't matter. This is like first past the post, or this is like the 2-party system, but like with 3 parties. because literally only 3 cards are going to get affected. So every season, we all got to get together and decide which 3 cards, and there'll be like a Moshcraft ballot, right? I'll be like, Derp wants you to nerf Traherne, Marine, and Battle Stations. And like, that's it. Like, those are the 3 nerfs. Don't split your vote, because then you will dilute them. Like, then it won't matter. If we pick like 15 cards that we all think are terrible equally, and we say, okay, well, we'll split into groups and everybody will use 3 of their votes on what, one set of 3, and all 15 will be submitted. None of the 15 will be touched because we diluted our vote. They'll change up to 60? So what? I can only vote for 12. And 3 in each category. 60 a month is good? No, it's not. Not with the state the game is in. And also, 60, like, it will be the cards people most passionately feel should be nerfed or buffed. But it's not the 60 cards most in need of buffs. Like, if I can only vote on a provision nerf for 3 cards, I'm going to pick the 3 most toxic things that bother me the most, that I don't want to see again on the ladder. I'll just nerf Cultist Scenario, Masquerade Ball Scenario, and like Care Troll. I'll just pick those 3. That doesn't mean that like the game would be best with only those 3 change. It's just the 3 that I feel the most strongly about. Right? Yeah. Look, like surveys and stuff, like, I mean, if they were good at math or data science or statistics or logic, the game wouldn't be in this state. Okay? So it doesn't surprise me they would pick something like this without any thought put into it. You talk to like an intro to statistics student, a fucking TA at a university, and they tell you this system is bad and here's all the reasons why. Like, they show you all the research that says this is a bad way of voting. But like, somehow they managed to find a voting system worse than the worst voting systems we have in the real world today. Like, the best voting system is ranked choice voting, where you pick, like, if I'm gonna nerf 5 cards, I pick my number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Now, they did say the position in each bracket matters, I think. But like, let me pick up to 10 per category. Why not? Yeah, but it's with only 3 choices. So it doesn't really, like, it's not like ranked choice voting means you get to pick all of the choices and rank them in order. That's what ranked choice voting is. Like in Australia, when you vote for like president, if there's 15 people running for president, you give numbers 1 through 15 to all 15 people. Yeah, Driftwood says the more data to work with. Like, they don't have to change all of the cards, but why not let me pick 10 things if I can rank them? And if you only want to pick 5, okay, pick 5. That's fine. Be patient. They will adjust those first 2 months. There won't be anybody left those first 2 months. In the previous, the last time they talked about GWENTFINITY on video, they said that they're going to try and release it before the end of the year so that like they have time to tweak it. I mean, maybe, I guess we can watch the video now. If I thought the video was about the changes. The patch changes. Max number of changes per bracket, 15. Max number of votes required, 50. Or minimum. So 50 people have to agree that Traherne is bad. So like, look, I promise you there are at least 10 cards just in monsters that I could get all of you to agree deserve a buff. Right? All 189 people watching. I promise I could get like at least 150 of you to agree that Cockatrice is a bad card. Okay? And I can do this for 9 other cards in monsters. Let's say I can do this for all 6 factions. That's 60 cards. So it's going to take me, if I want to vote for those 60 cards to be buffed, at 3 cards a month, that would take 2 years. It's so weird. Like, more than 3 cards need a provision nerf, in my opinion. What the hell is that? There are 1,600 cards in the game. Why do you think 3 is enough? Do you only vote for 3 of the candidates in an election that has like 10? No, like, I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy. They want to prevent big changes. Why? It's only going to be a 1 power or 1 provision change. If you want to have a big change, you have to repeatedly, like, if we want to nerf Traherne by 2 provisions, for the first 2 months of Gwentfinity, we all have to put Traherne as our number 1 provision nerf card. And probably power nerf too, like, just to be safe. So it's Gwentfinity and not Gwent Quickie? That's why it's a moronic, asinine, idiotic, ill-conceived, not at all thought out. I can't think of any more adjectives for how bad of a system of game design this is. I swear to God, like, if you want a case study for the worst solution to a problem ever, this is probably a good example. Like, I don't know. You know how I know that? In all the games in the history of the universe, in all the things where community voting has happened, no one has implemented a system like this, where you vote for 3 things out of 1,600 that you want to change by one number, and like a 1 provision change to a 4P is a gigantic change. A 1 provision change to a 13P card is a minuscule change. You think if I make this 12P, suddenly this will get played? No, this has to get provision buffed to like 11P before it will see any play. Like, you know, maybe 10 even. Like, what about Yaga? Like how good, how many provisions does this have to be before you ever play it? You know what I mean? Oh, you guys can't see. Sorry. Who knows? Do you think a 1 provision buff is gonna make, or a 1 power buff is gonna make this card played? Yeah. 3 changes per category. 12 cards total, or the same card 4 times. Or sorry, the same card 3 times, right? Sorry, it's 3 cards, the same 3 cards 4 times each. Shinmei in the chat said this is a litigate system. Has Shinmei already done a... That's because Shin's positive about it, because they solicited his opinion, I'm sure, because they talk, or he expressed his opinion. And some of his opinion has, I'm sure, surely been taken into account. And when you're in the group, you're less likely to shit on it than when you're out of the group. We each get 24... How is 24 votes in total? You get to allocate 24 points. But it's still 12 votes. Sorry. You're just taking 1 point away from your bottom choice and giving it to your top choice. Why would I want to give the same card plus or minus provisions? No, I guess you wouldn't. So 6 cards. Like, you pick 3 cards that you want nerfed and 3 cards that you want buffed, and you vote for them in 2 categories each just to maximize the chances of that change actually making it to live. Like, in a game of 1,600 cards, you know, there's at least 100 cards that I could come up with completely non-controversial changes to, that are 1 provision or 1 power, they get like 90% of people to vote yes on. Like, if they had done that themselves before like leaving, this would be fine. If if the cards were relatively equal, yes. Like, we don't get to change the card text. We don't get to change anything other than power and provisions. So, yes, in a patch, there will be 60 total changes, potentially. But each person can only pick 3 things to vote for to be on that 15. It's unnecessarily small, and my guess is it was just the UI limitation. They picked the number 3 because they wanted all 12 to be visible on the same screen, and it looks like the deck builder, and they want the font to be this big so that it's a touch target for mobile, because they designed the mobile interface as literally a shrunk down version of the desktop interface without like thinking through it properly or designing it from scratch for mobile. And so 12 was the number that fit, and that's why they picked 3 votes per, because that's pretty. Like, I bet you the UI will look like your friend list. It will be like, you know how there's this like weird like Frankenstein's accordion thing that you click on that like have you guys seen this? The 4 and the exclamation mark. I can like, it's on chat, it's on chat, it's on chat, it's on chat. Wait, did they fix it? Oh my god, I spent an hour doing this once just to show all the different permutations that you can make the exclamation move. And I wonder if they fixed it. They did. Chat, I'm so proud. Someone must have seen me, like a video of me doing this for half an hour and just going off. Because these, wait, why does Grav, oh, because he's in a game? Chat removed from friends. View profile. Why can't I view Grav Redvig's profile? Okay, found a new bug. And also, did you see how, like, if I do this and I go down and I click this, yeah, like, okay, look, if I do this, see how there's a blank space here? Look. For some reason, Grav Redvig does not have a profile. And I can't, I can only chat or remove from friends. I can't challenge him. Even though both these guys are playing Gwent right now, there's different options for this guy than for this guy. Anyway. Let's go watch the video. It does look like the deck builder. Okay, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. I told you. The reason it's 12 is because that's all that could fit on a screen. Look at it. How can you add any more than 3 choices and have it all fit on one screen? You can't. So that's the right number. That's how they pick. That's literally their level of math education. They think that this is the right number because that is what they could fit on a screen. Dave, are you serious right now? Do you really think we can't figure out what 5 stars means? Every 6-year-old with an iPhone knows what 5 stars means. They can count to 5. We have 5 fucking fingers. I think we can mentally process and handle 5 choices rather than 3. I swear to you, as stupid as I think your dumbass is right now, I think even you could figure out how to pick 5 choices. Jesus Christ on a stick. 3 per bracket is a good number. It's simple and elegant. I just want to be positive. Because somebody has to take the other side of every argument. No offense to anyone with amputated fingers, but like, even monkeys can count to 5. You could just make these expand and collapse and give me 5 of each. It's fine. It looks very intuitive and very similar to Deck Builder, they said. What happened to the provision filter? They removed that? What does it look like when they put a card in? Can you drag and drop a card in? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Why is it highlighting when you click it? And how do you do it on mobile? Oh my god, they built in some validation. Provisions are on the right side? Why? Why aren't they up top like they've always been everywhere else? Like, why put them on the right? Why put it where the cycle thing is now? Yeah, 14p is the max. Or 15. How much is siege? 14 is the max. Yeah, you couldn't. What do you mean we can? Right, they literally just showed you can't get that. They said no max? But it literally showed. Oh. Oh, power. Okay. Sorry, my bad. Oh my god, they have a text. Like, how much time are you going to spend on showing me that you can type in a fucking filter field? You want a Nobel Prize because you put a text filter on your goddamn, like, dynamic list? Watch out, we got Susan Kare over here innovating GUIs right now, as if it's 1984. Oh my god. Am I muted? No? Are you muted? No, you can't do anything with, no, they've never said armor. Just power and provisions. Why can't we give locations power? Because artifacts don't have power. They have a goblet instead. See where that icon is? You can't put a number there because there's a goblet there. Numbers and goblets don't coexist. You don't get to see what other people voted on? No. Well, you do when the patch notes come out, but... Ah, the beautiful info modal. The widescreen, you know, 240 characters on one line. Center justified. Giant dialogue box of pancake doom. We can't amend the evolved cards, only the first version? Wait, what? So we can't make like the third form of usurper be higher power? Why not? That's unacceptable. I mean, I understand technically why that could be like a much harder thing to do, but like, that's dumb as fuck. That's embarrassing. This isn't like a game made by people in a garage. It's a giant ass company. So unless 50 people agree that a card should be buffed or nerfed, it won't matter. So I could vote Cockatrice 3+3 stars every month for the next 2 years and it won't make a difference unless 49 other people have voted on Cockatrice that month. If that month leader provisions can be changed too, that's cool. How much time are they going to talk about explaining what 3 stars means? What?